Hi, I'm Jerry Carter with the Sierra Crest Business Law Group. We get a lot of questions from people who are concerned about being sued personally for things that happen in their business. And likewise, we have a lot of unfortunate cases in which a business owner was not concerned about being sued personally for something that happened in his or her business, but then got sued for something that happened in the business and wondered how that came to pass. And so I want to talk today about what you can do as a business owner to avoid being sued personally for something that happens in your business. The first thing I want to share with you is that this happens all the time. I can't count the number of times when we've had to assist clients who got sued personally because of something that happened in their business. And so it's a real threat, and it's something that could happen to you. Business owners hate it. If it happens to you, you're going to hate it too. And if it happens to you, your spouse is probably going to hate it too, because he or she might get roped in along with you. Second thing I want to tell you is that the number one thing you can do to protect yourself from being sued personally is to have a business entity. And by that I mean something like a corporation or a limited liability company, some state-recognized entity, some form of doing business that where the customer knows that he or she is doing business with a company, with an entity, and not with you personally. And so a couple things to say about this. If you operate as a sole proprietorship, that is not an entity. That is you operating under a name. And if there's a problem in the business and someone gets sued, it's going to be you personally. In addition, if you operate with a partner or with somebody else and you call yourself a general partnership, that is not an entity either. That is just you hooking up with someone to conduct a business. And if there's a problem with the business, you've doubled your trouble, because if your partner does something that gets the company sued, your partner will get sued and you will get sued. And likewise, if you do something that upsets somebody, you'll get sued and your partner will be sued. And so a general partnership is not an entity that's going to protect you from being sued. In fact, it's going to double your trouble considerably. The third thing you should know about avoiding being sued personally for something that happens in your business is that not only do you need to have this entity, but you need to operate the entity in accordance with the rules. You need to follow the rules and really respect the fact that this is a separate thing, this company that you've created. And by that, I mean, for example, you need to have regular meeting minutes, at least annual, or at least annually. Importantly, you need to have business accounts and personal accounts, and they need to be separate. You can't use the business accounts to run and take care of your personal expenses. Otherwise, you've mismatched yourself into the entity and no one will recognize it as a separate entity or a separate being. Similarly, it's not enough just to have created a limited liability company or created a corporation. You actually have to take steps to put your business into the entity. And so by that I mean, you may have this company, it might have a lease of a storefront, you might have employees, you might have a patent or an intellectual property or a trademark or trade name. Well, if those things are in your personal name, then they're not really in the corporation. You actually usually have to take a step to move that business asset or that business feature into the entity so that it's true that the entity is actually running the business. And this is fairly straightforward to do. A lot of people appreciate the assistance of an attorney in making sure that they moved the whole business, every part of the business, into the business entity so that they have that special protection against being sued personally. And so, just once again to recap, people get sued all the time for things that happen in their business. They get sued personally, and it's totally avoidable, but it happens. Second of all, the main thing you need is an entity, such as a corporation or a limited liability company. And then third, you need to put your business into the entity, and you need to respect the entity by keeping your business and your personal accounts separate, and also by observing what we call the corporate formalities, having your meetings and your meeting minutes, and really treating that entity like it's a separate thing, separate from you personally. Now, most people are going to have more questions about what we've talked about, and specific questions that concern your specific business. And if that's the case, I invite you to give us a call at the Sierra Crest Business Law Group at 775-448-6070. We'll be happy to talk to you and talk about your specific circumstances. Thanks again.